Good afternoon and welcome to the 225th episode of the Georgia Farm Bureau Georgia Prep Sports Drive for the GHSA State Title. Today's guest, we're going to stick in Class 2A. It's going to be Callaway head coach. Hold up one sec. Yeah, Pete Wiggins. And then we were going to have Matt Jones on. That's North Cobb Christian's head coach. But we're going to be joined instead by the defensive coordinator, PJ Hughes. So I'm excited to talk about that. North Cobb Christian, they've really been solid across the board. I've just noticed it in all their sports. Their baseball team just swept the region. They don't necessarily have the state titles, but if you want to judge that athletic program across the board, I'm really impressed. And then obviously Callaway football won the state title recently. They're looking to reach the playoffs for the 16th straight time this year, and they clinched their 7th region title in the last decade last year. So we'll go ahead and see if Coach Wiggins is ready to go. All right, we don't have him yet. I just texted him. So let's look at this real quick. He is one of the longest tenured coaches at this point. He's been there since 2005. They actually were the team that won Class 2A during the COVID year. And that was obviously a crazy season. When I was talking to him, they had some games where they had double-digit players out. They battled in a really impressive region that year with Bremen, Haralson County, Temple, and Heard County. Their first round was a forfeit. Then they beat Lovett, Thomasville, who went on to, I think, make the state titles the next year. Rabun County in the semifinals, 41-17. And then Fitzgerald in the state championship. Fitzgerald obviously has returned multiple times to the finals. Judging off that 2020 team, though, Coach Wiggins said that was probably one of the better defenses he's ever had at the school. Gave up just 12 points a game. They were outstanding. In 2021, they had another great year, made it to the semifinals and fell to Thomasville 31-6. That was the year that Thomasville was outstanding. They beat South Atlanta in the quarterfinals. South Atlanta, I'd say, had more seniors this last year, but they were a really solid Class 2A team. They did fall to Haralson County again for a second straight year, but then last year they swept the region. It was a brand new region for them. They lost the Bremen, Haralson County. Instead, it was Redan, Columbia Towers, ELCA, McNair, and Landmark Christian. And then they fell to Appling County in the quarterfinals. The thing that impresses me about Callaway, they always play up in classifications. They're situated around that troop area. They will be playing them again. Teo Todd's been their longtime starter. Troop has so many athletes, and they've been playing really close games. They made a statement in 2021 by beating Troop 28-7 early in the season. Last year they fell 23-14 and then won 9 straight games until the Appling County lost. Before they played Troop, they played Cedartown. We know how good and dominant they were last year. Came 1 yard short of a state title in perfect season. That was a 47-7 loss to Cedartown. That obviously was a wake-up call. Callaway is a team that has played, from what I've seen, a close game week in and week out for the last several seasons. But they obviously bounced back and had a tremendous run, finished the year ranked in the top 5. They opened the season against Opelika from Alabama. That's right across the border from them. That was a 29-28 loss. So 0-3 start. They win 9 straight, make another quarterfinal run. The consistency of the Callaway program is absolutely tremendous. So let's go and look at, one sec. Let's see if he texted back. So one of the things Coach Wiggins says is each year you got to have a new team identity. You got to see where your strengths are, etc. And so I mentioned the year they won the state title, undoubtedly that was a defensive team. The offense came alive later on when they were dealt with some injuries. They were able to rely on high scoring games and running the football. Last year, they lit up the scoreboard with a 49-point victory over ELCA, big wins over Columbia. And I do think they have a more favorable region. That being said, the Class 2A playoffs are going to be a significant challenge. So last year, they scored 411 points offensively. That was a jump up from last year. And let's see who made All-State for them. Seniors that ended up making All-State. There was Elijah Gunn, defensive lineman, Sam Williams, defensive lineman, and then Xavius Reed, a tight end. And they were all honorable mentions except Sam Williams was first team. I'm assuming those guys were contributing early on and were a part of that state championship run where, as I mentioned, they were dealt with all those injuries and then all the quarantine stuff, and they really had to have that next man up mindset to get it done. And then that playoff run was tremendous. Thomasville, Fitzgerald, all that. So this team is
the upcoming season. You talked about our schedule. We looking at our schedule with a true, they're well coached, but we always like to play